Welcome back to another episode of Automotive Insight. This video is for your uncle who can do it cheaper. Today we have a 2014 Nissan Pathfinder. Customer states that there's a noise when they cut the air conditioning on. He said that the fans are noisy. Let's take a look. As you can see, the fans themselves are vibrating, and we was able to wiggle a little bit. You can tell it's playing it, but we're going to start working on removing them. First thing we're going to do is remove the intake tube, two 10mm bolts. There is a little grommet there, but a little tug and it comes right up. We're going to work on removing the battery. Everything in here is a 10mm. We're going to remove the 210 nuts for the computer. We're going to try and remove this bracket out of the way. There's three 13mm bolts. There's a 10 there, and there's a clip for that harness we'll have to work on. We're going to disconnect this computer. I believe this is probably the transmission computer. Tab on the back. A little plastic holder on the upper radiator hose. You can just push the little tab in. Okay, going to unplug the main connector to the fan control module. Okay, we're going to work on removing the two fasteners that hold the radiator fan in. They are T30. We're going to remove the plastic engine cover. It's 4 10mm bolts. Remove the ground strap on the passenger side. It's a 10mm. This plastic harness clip. I'm actually going to take the fan controller off. It's two 10mm bolts. This is what was catching, even though we probably didn't take everything off the service manual says to do, but I was kind of surprised it came out. But this is what was catching. You know, it's two 10mm and these two connectors. This one's turned around backwards, so we'll take it off, and then we'll get it back in the car and reinstall it. It could have probably made the process coming out easier, so we're going to see if it's easier going back in with it off. We've zip tied our upper radiator hose. You can drain the coolant and remove it, and it might make this a little bit easier, but we've zip tied it and pulled it out of the way. Was able to remove it with it in there, so going back in. Then also the main harness to the fan control module, we zip tied it out of the way. We pried that loose, little plastic harness clip there to help because it was catching going down. But I also had let the passenger side go down past where it would mount, and that's where it was binding up. So if you keep it up to the height of where it mounts, it slides back in a lot easier. Fan mounting bolts back in. Alright, we'll see how hard it is to put this module back on, see if it was a good idea or not.
I love it.
So I don't know if it got filmed, but I did push this down to get this out. I mean, it's flexible. It didn't take much just to get it out of the way. Just bend it back up. It's just for radiator hose. Work on putting this bracket back in. Fish it underneath the airbox first for the dowel. I'm gonna plug your computer back in. A ground strap on the passenger side. Radiator hose. Plastic tray for the battery. The single dot goes forward.
Do you see a slot that would fit
the semicircle?
Semicircle?
The semicircle.
That's right. It's the square hole.
Different parts stores, they'll offer an optional size battery, and they're smaller. Yes, they'll work, but it's not the best for the vehicle. And you tend to run into issues like this. It's shorter, and our hold down bolts are too long, so we're just gonna stack some washers. Okay, install a plastic engine cover. Install upper air intake. Well, that wraps up another one. This was my first time doing this repair. If you're watching this, probably your first time too. This repair actually went quicker than I thought it was. Didn't have to remove quite as much parts as I thought. You could drain the coolant, remove the radiators, make it a little bit easier if you want to, but was able to work around that. So if you like what you saw today, give us a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. What's the wiki wiki? Bert, the wiki wiki.